So we will move over now to Dr. Markus Eisel. Markus, he is director of a company located in Salzburg. The company name is EuroVision, and it does a lot of consultancy project in the geoinformatics domain, a lot of remote sensing stuff, media, and so on. And Markus Eisel will talk about the EuroGIS module. So it's a kind of, yeah, I move it over to you, Markus. I'm sure you can explain it better. The floor is yours.
To all of you from my side now, as Christoph has just said, we are now talking about EuroGIS, the European dimension of geoinformation, which is a bit less technical module in this course, but I hope to give you a short overview about the goals and contents of this module. Well, just a few words about myself. I'm, as Christoph said, from EuroVision here in Salzburg. We are dealing with products and services based on remote sensing and geoinformatics. And yes, now already busy since about 14 years. Just a quick overview about our main fields of work. So you see on the left side in this slide, one of the pillars of our work. It's we are providing users with remote sensing data. So users, clients come to us and present us their problem, and we check which type of satellite data and which data source is the most adequate for their purpose. This one side. Then in the middle you see we are what we are doing then with data also for clients. We are interpreting the data, satellite data mainly, and producing high value added products up to classifications and land use interpretations, for instance. And to the right you see the third pillar of our work. This is the media and multimedia work, where we are producing books, maps, and also multimedia applications for museums and science centers, for instance. This is just one example of an exhibition we have made a couple of years ago, which was in several German and Austrian museums. And as I said before, processing, analysis, and integration of geodata. Here we are just busy in one project which is also relevant in the context of this module. I don't know whether you have heard about LUCAS, land use classification and area-based statistics all over Europe. We are doing the Austrian part for it. It's about analyzing 9,300 points distributed over Austria. Part of it also with soil samples and and other special analysis for which people have to go to the points in the regions. And we are doing also this back office part of quality assessment and so on for these points, European projects. Yes, EuroGIS. What does this have to do? Is it about euros or more about GIS? Here we have to say, you see, we are of course not dealing with the money, that's for sure. But you see on this image of the 500 euro note, there is a map, and it's a map of Europe, of course. And this has been done with support from us when in the years before the euro was introduced to Europe. A satellite map which was used as a template for producing this layout for the banknotes. Yes, and it's quite interesting. When I was searching for this image, I got a message on the screen very quickly that there could be some problems with using too high quality images of euro banknotes. But that's just a little side remark. EuroGIS, what is it good for? So, as you all know, we are living in a world that's more and more, how to say, yeah, globalization is going on, and integration on a European level. We are not talking only about the European Union, but this integration is going far beyond that. And I think this image of this puzzle of Europe nicely shows this. While each country is a unit of its own, with its own problems and its own issues that have to be tackled, we also have this common European view. We all dependent on each other and so on, and even if, as you see, this is not the very recent map of the EU, as Great Britain has left the European Union and other countries have joined. It is a dynamic process, of course, but integration is a direction that can, in my opinion, cannot be reversed. And this is one other thing. There was, you see, you know, that this Brexit process was quite a long process, and they had to even change the stamps that were produced for this purpose. I think not only once until they let it go at all. So, what are we dealing with? We are dealing with all the, how to say, aspects this integration has. So we are dealing with cross-boundary aspects, which are becoming increasingly important, of course. And this integration, which covers quite a lot of different fields from economy, over politics, but also, of course, ecology, because this is, I think, the first of the issues that nature does not stop at the national boundaries, but ecosystems stretch over the boundaries, of course. So, and one thing that is quite a general thing is that this has to do more or less with the European, or is focused on the European, that all or most of the themes the European Union is dealing with in its policies, environmental, agricultural, transports, and regional policies, and so on, they all have in some way a spatial dimension. So geographic information is one of the key elements for an institution like the European Union to be able to fulfill its tasks. Just two examples. One is the flood along the Danube River in 2013. Here we see an image, aerial image of Passau, a town at the border between Germany and Austria. And here you, of course, cannot say where is the boundary. Flood has to do, or flood affects both sides of the country, of course. This similar and in another sense quite different issue was that of the Oberrheinbrücke, a bridge near Laufenberg between Switzerland and Germany. It crosses the Rhine, as its name says. And during the construction of this bridge in 2003, this transboundary geographic information issues became very clear. During construction, people realized that when they continued to build the bridge in this sense, or as they were started, they would have a step of about 1 meter height in the middle of the bridge, which is of course not the best way if you want to connect or to use a bridge like this for road traffic, for instance. And the reason was quite simple. We have different projection systems, different elevation systems in Germany and in Switzerland, which was taken into account during planning. but unfortunately not in the correct way. So the original 27 centimeters difference were doubled because they were not subtracted but added. So this is just an example why it is so important to have this transboundary aspects really in mind. Europe, we have already seen a few approaches to this to this term. It has, of course, quite different meanings depending on what we are talking about. It can be the definition of the area of the continent. It can be the governments of European countries. It can be, of course, and it are the citizens of European countries. It's the enterprises and organizations which are working in Europe. It has to do, of course, also with international treaties, international laws, and one of the key aspects is the European Union. But again, I would not like to talk about European Union only, but it's Europe. Europe has a bit wider context. So, and what is now the goal of the EuroGIS module, and what are the contents of this module? The goal, the overarching goal is that you should get a well-founded overview of a variety of aspects of geoinformation in Europe. And this ranges from geoinformation in cross-boundary use. It has to do with institutions of the European Union that are using geographic information, their responsibilities. Of course, what are key players in Europe that are active in the geographic information sector? What are European instruments that have been developed for monitoring and managing the targets of the European Union? The two most important of them are Copernicus and Galileo, of course. Then we are dealing with European geodata and their background. I've mentioned one example with the Lucas project, which is one of these European projects in which unified data for all over Europe are collected. And we are talking about some of the rules or collections of rules that have been developed and are the basis for this work with geographic information, such as INSPIRE, PSI, Open Data Directive, all steps which lead to some kind of spatial data infrastructure in Europe. The structure can be seen here. We start with a quick overview of EuroGIS, what it is about and what we do within the module. Then we have a look on some European institutions which are relevant in the context of geographic information. We go into cross-border aspects of geoinformation. So what are these aspects ranging from different generalization of geoinformation, different accuracy, different ground resolution level of detail, and so on, different nomenclature or categorization of data on two sides of a boundary, or language, which is also a very important aspect. We then go in the next lesson into spatial reference systems, which are used in Europe, and what are common spatial reference systems. We have a look to INSPIRE, what are the goals, what is the status of this very important tool for unification, for unified access to geoinformation in Europe. We then have a look to the two main projects in Europe, or programs in Europe, that have to do with geoinformation. One is Galileo, the European navigation satellite system, and then with a short view on remote sensing in a general way, and its aspects, and its how to say, it's what is being done in Europe in this field. And then more specifically, Copernicus, which is, as I said, one of the important programs here. We then have a more general view of European geodata, where geodata projects, where or how are geodata with a European context collected and compiled. We then will have a look to how do we search geodata in Europe. And one very special thing is when we search for Copernicus data and work with this, just to give an idea of how easy it is to access Copernicus data and to work with it. And we have then look to overarching European geo-content projects, which is not only with the geodata, but which are really, as this Lucas project approaches from a high-level European situation to get unified data for all of Europe. As I said, Lucas is one of these projects, and the aim is to get a high-level view of the land use aspects in Europe. It is in some way a twin project related to the other big land use project, which is also part of this module, of course. And then what we will have a quick look on what regional SDIs exist in Europe, which of them are transboundary ones, and which are just, I would say, focused to a national approach. And at the last, as a last point, we go to some political issues. What strategies are there on a high level in Europe? What legal regulations do we find in Europe? And we start with a summary of it. So to come to the assignments or assessments of the works, you have to, it is split into 6 parts, and they are partly to be done in form of essays. As I said before, this is a less technical module. This is more, it has the aim to get this overview of GI issues in Europe. And there are some practical exercises also on which shall give you an idea of how these aspects of cross-boundary GI use is, or what influence this has, how European geoportals can be used and assessed, and how Copernicus data can be accessed and used. This is just this Copernicus short view into this Copernicus lesson, which gives an overview of the satellites that are in use already, what types of data can be accessed or can be obtained by them, which is really a very wide variety how this data can be accessed, searched and accessed, and downloaded. And yeah, as I said before, the goal is you should get an idea of what geo information Europe is and what direction you can go to find data that are useful for you. So that's already all I wanted to say, and thank you for the moment.